Hello everyone. And fourth DevOps program is how do you build and run a Java application with Maven and how to migrate the same application to Gradle. So first you are supposed to build and run Java application with Maven and then the same application should be migrated to Gradle. So before starting with the practical exercise, let us see few points. Why is it necessary to migrate a Java application to Gradle? There are so many key benefits of doing this. See, migrating from Maven to Gradle can be useful for several reasons, especially as your project scales. If you need optimized build and simplify management, so there are so many benefits out of it. And in that, the first benefit can be considered as building performance and also speed. So there will be incremental build. Gradle has advanced incremental build capabilities, meaning it only rebuilds what has changed and which can significantly speed up build times compared to Maven. Okay, and also there will be parallel execution. We can execute the task in parallel, further improving the build performance, and also caching. So Gradle supports build caching, which helps to avoid redundant work and also reduces the time spent on the task that haven't changed. Okay, that's why. And also one more key difference is that, or key feature is that flexibility and also customization. Okay, so we can customize it through a domain specific language called as Groovy and Kotlin. So it is very easy to customize build the script using a specific needs, and also you can write more flexible and complex build configuration when compared to Maven because it is purely POM which is XML based. No, you did find difficulty while adding the dependency. If you miss any of the tags, then it would throw an error saying the missing of the tags and all. So we should adhere to the strict rules and regulations of the syntax. And also we have better dependency management here in Gradle. Okay, and it supports multi-projects. Can be supported out of it. Its configuration and task management are more flexible, okay, and also efficient in large product projects also. And the main one of the main key feature is that native support for Kotlin and Groovy. So it supports both Kotlin and Groovy for build scripts, and which gives developer the flexibility to choose the language they are most comfortable with. If I am comfortable with Groovy, I can choose it. If you are comfortable with Kotlin, you can choose that, and that is one of the key feature. And also, one more important key feature is that it integrates with various tools. Like it can be integrated with IntelliJ, it can be integrated with Eclipse and other build and deployment tools as well. So that's why we say that Gradle can improve your project's build performance, provide more flexibility, and it makes it easier to manage complex builds, and especially in larger and more dynamic projects. Okay, so Gradle offers powerful features that Maven doesn't match as well. Okay, so now let us dive into the practical exercise. So here, actually, so first step is, since we are supposed to migrate one Maven project to Gradle, it is necessary to create a project using Maven. Okay, so again, we should go with the first command, that is updating of the system to add all the newly added packages. Okay, so that's how we update the system. And since we have already installed Maven in your previous program, it is not required. But you can directly start with MVN version and checking the Maven version. If it is showing the version perfectly, then no issues. If it is not showing the version perfectly, then you should update the system and then you should install the Maven. And after that, so no necessity of doing this, you can skip this one. Okay, so just skip this, no necessity of doing this. So you can just directly start with this one. Okay, so to create a Maven project, we have already discussed in program 2, I think, no? So we should start with MVN archetype generate, and it will generate a basic structure by default. And also you should add the domain, and also here we are writing our project name. This is our project name, project folder name. So that can be done through a command called as the artifact id. And then so you should specify it is a Maven archetype we are creating, and that can be done through this command. And then if you want the command line argument to be interactive, you can make it as true, otherwise you can put it false. So this you already know in the previous program, no, in the second program. And this is how we create a Maven project. And here in this line we have written the folder name. So that will generate a structure, right? So inside the folder, my first app folder, you will be having a POM file and also source com example. Under that you will be having app.java. Source main Java com example. Under that you will be finding app.java file. So you should open that file, and here you can find few of the things like this. See, so the first dependency informs us saying that the J unit testing, which means that to test your project basically. Okay, so your project has to be compiled, no? So once you create a project, it should be compiled. So rather than writing the compilation command over there, we just add the dependency over here. Okay, that's it. So here we are informing the terminal saying that we have added JUnit compiler for unit testing, and this is the version. By default it will generate this. Okay, so till this, by default, whenever you create a Maven project, so inside your POM file by default you will be having this one. Okay, so you will be having details about your project, and also you will be having one default dependency, that is JUnit dependency. Okay, so to this, so it will come with unit testing tool, no? To that, if I want to execute a Maven project, okay, so to execute a Maven project, I require one plugin that is called as exe Maven plugin. Basically, to execute app.java project, we require a plugin called as exe Maven plugin, and that can be added by using the tag build plugins and plugin. And you should provide the group ID. Group ID is nothing but from which domain you want to download that plugin. Okay, so basically from this domain I want to download a plugin called as exe Maven plugin, that is org.codehouse.mojo. Okay, and you should provide this valid plugin name, that is exec, this standard plugin name. If you miss something out of here, you won't be able to see the output. Okay, and version is 3.5.0 because it is compatible with the Maven version that we are using 3.6.3. That's why we are choosing 3.5.0. Okay, and under execution tags you should mention which type of language you're going to run. So that can be represented like this. We have a tag called as executions. Under that you should write execution, and inside the goal tags you are supposed to mention which language you're going to execute, like this. Okay, and after that, after closing the goal, you should write configuration. Configuration tags basically contains your project, your file name. Okay, so where your Java code resides in it. Okay, so in this case, app.java is my file name. There I'm going to write my Java code. So basically the file name is app.java. Okay, that should be included in your configuration, which means that you want to execute a Java program. And what is the main class name? Main class name will be com. Inside com we have example. Inside that we have a application, we have a project called as app.java that you should provide. Okay, that we call it as configuration tags. Okay, inside configuration class you will provide path address to your file basically. Okay, this should be given properly. See, look at this. The tag should be main class. C should be in capital letter, and you should write com dot example dot whatever the file name you have taken. By default, it comes with app, so you can keep this. And the closing of the tags also mandatory. Otherwise, you won't get the output. That's it. So inside the POM file, you are supposed to add this plugin. Okay, basically to execute your project. And to compile your project. Okay, so to compile your project, we should add the compiler plugin also. Okay, so whenever you are dealing with Maven, so execution plugin won't be there by default, compiler plugin won't be there by default. So in order to execute your project, you are supposed to download the dependencies by writing the commands, or by writing the tags over here into the POM file, and that's how you can be able to execute your project. Otherwise you can't be able to execute. If you don't write these two plugins, you can't be able to execute your project. Okay, and also you are supposed to add a Maven plugin. So to compile your project, Maven compiler plugin should be added. Okay, and how do we add the compiler actually? So like this we had, you should again write the group ID is nothing but from which domain you're gonna fetch that compiler plugin. So from this domain I'm gonna fetch the compiler plugin. So for that you should write the group ID. Inside the group ID tags you are supposed to write the complete address. And also artifact ID is what is the name of that plugin. Okay, so name of that plugin is Maven compiler plugin. Again you should give it prop. So you should give it properly again, Maven compiler plugin. If you miss out on something here, you can't be able to see the output. And which version we are using? Basically we are using the version 3.8.1 version, and that's what it says. And also plugin has got two configurations in it. Okay, so one is the source configuration and another one is the target configuration we have. And its version is 1.8, and also Java version is 1.8 actually. So these plugins by default it uses these compiler plugins actually. So the source, what it means, it specifies the version of the Java source code. This indicates which version of the Java features the compiler should expect to be used in the code. Okay, that's what the source specifies. And target specifies the version of the Java bytecode to generate. Okay, and bytecode will be compatible with the specified version. Okay, that's what I repeat. So inside the configuration we have two components, that is source and target. Source specifies the version of the Java source code. Okay, what version of the Java source code we have, and it indicates which version of the Java features the compiler should expect to be used in the code. Okay, which version. And target specifies bytecode, which bytecode is compatible with the specified version. Okay, source basically source code and also Java feature should be expected. Target basically which type of bytecode version should be generated. That's what it specifies. Understood, guys? So into the POM file you are supposed to add exe plugin, and also you are supposed to add compiler plugin. Then only you can be able to run the project. And once it is done, you can type this command mvn clean build. So to build the project, clean build is nothing but if there are any pre-builds, that will be removed and it will build freshly. Okay, so by adding and if you have added any dependency into the POM file, so it will download all the related dependency from the external library, and then it will compile your project. That's what mvn clean install specifies. And after that, see, this is how your Java file looks like. You can see here. See, I mean, by default, you will be having these codes inside app.java. Okay, no issues. You can just execute the same code itself. If you want, you can modify the code. Okay, otherwise you can execute this one only. So to run the Java application, mvn exe, we are running one Java application, and so your Java application resides in the main class com.example.add. Okay, so once you hit on enter button, you can be able to see the message hello Maven, and that's all about program 4. So a revision of program 4 would be like this. So we should create a project related to Maven, and after creating a project related to Maven, we should migrate it to Gradle. Okay, the first part of the program is over. Okay, which means that we have created a project using a Maven, and the next part of the program says that we should migrate this to Gradle. Okay, next part is migration of the Maven project to Gradle, and this is how we can migrate. We should verify before migrating, we should verify whether Gradle has been installed into our system or not by executing this command. If you can see the version, which means that Gradle has been installed successfully, otherwise go with these two steps, execution of these two steps. Okay, so no necessity of writing this. Okay, you can just remove this. So just start typing this. Creation of Gradle init is nothing but we are initializing a Java product which is related to Gradle, and then so you can directly go to build Gradle. So this file will be generated automatically by your Gradle tool itself. No necessity of you going and writing this. So by default it will generate everything like this. It will provide everything like this. Okay, and what you are supposed to do is, since we want to, this portion won't be there inside your build Gradle. Okay, so you cannot see this portion. So this I have added it manually. Okay, so why? Because in Maven we're gonna use a unit testing called as JUnit. No, so you can go back to your POM file of Maven and check. We have used JUnit tool for testing of your project. Okay, so since we are migrating Maven to Gradle, you are supposed to manually add this JUnit testing into your Gradle project. That's how you could be able to migrate. That's it. So you should add this dependency, and this can be downloaded out of this address, and the test implementation, which means that during the implementation of your project we're gonna use this tool. That's what it specifies. Okay, so that's all. After creating a project with Maven, to migrate your project you should only add this one. That's a dependency of JUnit should be added in a Gradle file, and after that you can just go to build Gradle and execute the file. Okay, so to migrate JUnit dependency from Maven to Gradle, following dependency to be added to the build Gradle. That's what it says, and that's it. After that, you can just give Gradle build and then run the Gradle, and you can be able to see the